you, Thomas.
Greetings from Dalian again. I'm here with David Aikman, who is running the Young Global Leaders grouping in the Dalian Summit here. First of all, what are the Young Global Leaders? What is the group?
The group's the most incredibly talented group of under 40 global peers that you can imagine from every sector and every country. 61 countries were present here in Dalian. So an absolutely amazing group of individuals who are all in their own field accomplished and talented and leading not only their organizations but also taking a very active role in society on broader issues. And they come together as that network to talk, to learn, and to also think about ways in which they could shape the future into a more positive place. The real theme of the summit was the future of leadership. And that's both on a personal level in terms of what kind of skills and abilities do I need to develop as a leader to lead in changing times, to lead in networked organizations, to lead across cultures, but also for the world. You know, when you look at this world, there seems to be a deficit of leadership at the global level in terms of solving the big global issues confronting this world. So if you can get a group of peers from all around the world working together, you could achieve potentially something incredible. So
the idea is to bring together this group of peers from around the world to discuss world issues.
It's world issues through a different lens, through the lens of our generation. Mm-hmm. You know, Einstein said you can't use the same thinking to solve problems that were created with that thinking in the beginning. And so the perspectives that young global leaders bring and the fact that we're bringing such diversity together really gives a new take on some of these. So I take a trend like cancer, for example, where according to the publicly available information, it's going to be the #1 cause of death in 2030. Well, a venture capitalist stands up and says, well, according to the companies I'm funding, we're going to solve it before then, so that's bunk. And that, you know, sometimes in the big global debate, you don't get that voice of change, that voice of dissent. So, you know, it's a really important voice to be heard, I think.
And what are some of the more concrete things that went on here? You just described briefly how the meeting ran. What happened here?
Well, the meeting was a very different kind of event. It was kind of open source, peer-to-peer design. Very open space, very interactive, lots of small cross-cultural, cross-functional working groups that were self-organized, self-authored. So it's sort of we set up a space and then allowed people to create meaning in that space themselves. And that was very, very deliberate as a reflection of where we think leadership is emerging today and is developing. And so,
by open space, just to clarify, open space. What David's saying is they're large whiteboards. I don't know if you can see them in the camera, probably not. But anyways, people were writing a lot on whiteboards and discussing things.
Yeah, and then coming back in a huddle in a main area, and then breaking off into other groups to work the problems further. So.
And what are some of the more concrete things that have come out of this?
Yeah, well, there were a number of initiatives that were proposed here. Things like putting together an African leadership network to try and get new young African leaders more visible in their region to inspire young people. There is a project underway for a Global Dignity Day to send great leaders out into schools, again to inspire kids. There have been very concrete sort of thought leadership projects coming out. One group was looking at urban challenges, reflecting the fact that in 2007 more than 50% of the population moved into cities. And so that brings a whole new set of challenges, but also, you know, there's no economic data out there, or a lot of microeconomic data on the functioning of cities. So launching a city competitiveness index, launching an urban design, sustainable design competition. So lots of really concrete actions and things that can be undertaken to try and connect some of the divides that exist in our world and some of the gaps in the system.
And the aspirations for the future, looking ahead for this group?
Well, I think this group has an incredible potential, and harnessing that, helping get the message out about what young global leaders are doing will be important as the sort of the community defines itself. It's a young community. It's only 3 years old, and I think we can expect great things, but in the true spirit of how the community is organized, we don't know what those things are yet because they're emerging from the community. So you know, one great idea that's come up has been creating little groups of sort of advisory networks on a personal level. When people say, gee, I'm really stuck on a problem, can you guys help me? That we could be almost a support network, peer network for each other to help solve those issues, whatever they are, whether they're leadership issues or they're personal things. So, you know, I think at this event, the big thing that excites me was the sense of community and the energy that was created, and now how that's going to be harnessed by people. And I mean, you've been a YGL for a couple of years now. You know the kind of friendships and the depth of relationships that people create. And that's just wonderful and unexpected, and it shows great hope.
What are the fields, first if you could just describe what are the fields of the variety of people who are members of this group, and then there's a lot more people out there who are obviously not members of the YGL community. How do people become members of the YGL community? What is the process?
It's an open nomination process. You can nominate.
Well, first, what sort of people are here? What sort of people are here?
What sort of people are here? The people who are here are in leadership roles in their organizations or in their fields. So we have everything from the pianist Lara Auerbach, who I think you might have interviewed, who is a virtuoso in her field. She's a clear leader in that in the arts. Then you have, for example, a member of parliament from Afghanistan who is here. She's a political leader who has taken a very courageous stance. You have business leaders, people who are running big divisions in companies. You have entrepreneurs who have started their own companies. You have social entrepreneurs, people who have started NGOs to solve gang problems and work with, try and help gang leaders out of the situation that they're in and tackle that challenge. So people come from incredibly diverse backgrounds.
So how do people come into this community?
So people are nominated online. Anybody can nominate someone. You can't nominate yourself. That's one criteria. And we look for people, apart from the age criteria, and we look for people under 40 when they're nominated. They should have a good track record of leadership. They should be on that right trajectory. They should be recognized contributors in society. There are people, all of our leaders are doing more than just their day jobs, and that's one of the characteristics. The other thing is that they're people who are willing to commit and to engage and to give part of their precious time to this effort and to this community to help other YGLs, to help tackle some of the big challenges, and that's really it.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Good. Thanks, Thomas.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.